It's the International Soccer Preview. We are Soccerphiles Canada. Here we go. It's the International Soccer Preview by Soccerphiles Canada, Series 32. I'm Kevin.
And I'm Connor, and today we're looking at Group C for the 2026 World Cup. This group is made up of Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti.
And that actually kind of leads us into part 3 here, where we are going to kind of look at the teams and talk about things like Haiti's prospect. Let's begin, though, by looking at the pots and rankings there.
Yeah, so the pot 1 team is Brazil. They came in as 5th in the world, so that's pretty good. Morocco is 11th in the world, so they're actually one of the top pot 2 teams. Only Croatia and Morocco only Croatia ahead of them. So you'd have to say a very difficult pot 2 team to be drawn against. Scotland are in the middle of the pack among pot 3 teams. And then Haiti come in actually as the second lowest ranked team in the tournament, behind Curacao, but ahead of New Zealand. So yeah, it'll be difficult for them. But yeah, any comments on the pots there?
Not really. I think we can maybe move on and get into our comments a bit later. But overall, I would say an average strength group.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's look at the rankings there. Whether we agree completely with the FIFA rankings. I think 11th personally seems a bit too high for Morocco. But let's go through and at least give the rankings first.
Yeah, so Brazil are 5th in FIFA and 6th in ELO. You don't want to say it's a low point for them, but they were 1st in December 2022. So there's only one place to go, which was down, and they have sunk a little bit, but 5th is still very respectable.
Yeah, well put. Okay, next we have Morocco.
Yeah, Morocco are 11th in FIFA and 20th in ELO. Morocco were kind of in the 40s and even 30s, but it was their World Cup performance in 2022, which understandably and deservedly rocketed them up to 11th. And they've kind of stayed there, kind of in the 11th to 14th in FIFA over the years since. They've never got quite as high in ELO, with 20th being their current position.
Right, and we saw in the history before 2017, they were a pretty unremarkable team, really at about 60th or even 70th in the rankings. So this really is a period of great strength for them.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's a pretty big difference there. 11th in FIFA, 20th in ELO. Do you want to comment on that?
I think ELO, shows a little bit more historical perspective. They've moved up a lot in both systems, but not quite as high in the ELO system. So I think the 11th in FIFA is still really reflective of their semifinal performance.
Yeah, and I don't know if the awarding of the title changes their rankings in either system.
Yeah, that's a good question.
All right, let's move on to Scotland next. Also a bit of a divergence between the FIFA and ELO there.
Yeah, this time it's the ELO ranking that's higher, where they're 27th. They're 36th in FIFA. I think it's fair to say in both systems they've jumped around. They kind of fluctuate. They move up and down. But the overall trend has been somewhat upward, I would say, over the last 5 or 6 years. So it's kind of at a relative high point, which I guess coincides with this being their first World Cup qualification in over 2 decades.
Yeah, that fits with my impression. I mean, they have benefited a bit from the expansion of tournaments. So, how much is their recent reaching of tournaments due to expansion of tournaments versus their overall improvement? But I do agree that this one suggests a slight improvement over the past few years. How about you?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a fair comment.
All right, and we'll probably get into that more. Let's finish with our look at Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti are 85th in FIFA, 75th in ELO. So by either measure, quite a bit behind even the pot 3 team, Scotland. They've seen some steady improvement as well. They were below 100th in the world in 2019, but some good performances in qualification and Gold Cups have seen them climb slowly and steadily, if kind of unspectacularly. But at 84th, they still, as I say, come in as one of the lowest ranked teams in this tournament.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, their inconsistency has seen them bounce around a little bit there. But as we said, overall, well, this is putting them quite a bit below Scotland, whereas in the summary of the strengths, we were putting them maybe not as far below Scotland, but we'll get into that discussion. Let's move on to our next basis of comparison, the head-to-head. And surprisingly, the teams have met each other quite a bit here.
Yeah, Brazil and Morocco met in 1998 in the World Cup group stage. That was a win for Brazil. That's their only appearance, or only meeting, I would say.
Yeah, just one meeting there. But the one I was kind of thinking of was with Brazil and Scotland. They've met 4 times.
Yes, though this will be their 5th appearance, and Scotland's only their 8th World Cup. So maybe they're a bit unlucky to be constantly faced with Brazil. But they do have one tie in there of those 4 games, but the other 3 were wins for Brazil.
Right, and that tie was in their first meeting in 1974. We do move on to Brazil versus Haiti, and they too have met.
Yes, that they met in a Copa America. That was the Centenario, so a 100th anniversary celebration. And it was a win for Brazil, a big one at that.
Yeah, 7-1. But I do want to point out that, interestingly, Brazil's under-20 team joined the 1999 Caribbean Cup there, and Haiti beat them. I'm not sure how many of that under-20 team would have been players in the 2002 World Cup title-winning team there, but interesting to contemplate.
Yeah, anytime you get a win over Brazil, it's significant.
Yeah. Next we have Morocco, Scotland, and they too have met.
Yes, that was in the 1998 World Cup when 3 of these teams were grouped together, and it was a win for Morocco.
A 3-0 win at that, so pretty good there. The next 2 they haven't met. Go ahead there.
Yeah, Morocco and Haiti yet to meet, and Scotland and Haiti yet to meet in a major tournament.
Right. Okay. So that's the head-to-head. Brazil coming out quite strong, unsurprisingly. Let's move on to our next basis of comparison: the odds. I did use oddsmaker in the past. Now I just go to AI. We're not really interested in the gambling aspect of this, but more what the odds makers are thinking.
Yeah, Brazil are heavy favorites to win this group, given about a 75% chance. I know the numbers here don't add to 100, but it's more relative. Morocco are given 18%, Scotland 12.5%, and then Haiti, the real outsiders, at 1%.
Just a 1% chance. Well, we have seen strange things happen in the World Cup. So Haiti beating Brazil. What do you think?
I'm not sure I'd predict it, but it would be a story if it happened.
Okay. The last thing we're going to look at is a new thing we've been doing. In getting the odds from AI, I actually learned from AI that a more reliable predictor of success is team value. So I went and got the team values for each of the 4 teams here. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, so it's kind of not surprising that Brazil have the highest value team at over $1 billion. Morocco are 350 million, Scotland 210, and Haiti just 12. So it kind of shows a similar story with the odds. Brazil, the favorites by a fairly big margin, Haiti, real outsiders, and Morocco with an edge over Scotland, but those 2 a little close.
Yes, very consistent actually there between odds and team value, and perhaps that can be the starting point of our discussion. Brazil in both the odds, well, head-to-head as well, and team value clearly predicted as winners here. Do you think it's as convincing as that's made out?
I do not. I think they're the favorites, but I don't know if I would put them even at the 75% chance. I think Brazil, looking at the maybe the quality of their players and club affiliations, I think there are some, and there's a school of thought that this is one of Brazil's weaker generations. Look at the affiliations of their top players, and it's Richarlison for Tottenham, and maybe not a top player, but he'll be one of the strikers for that team. That is perhaps a weaker generation of Brazilian players. So, I'm not sure there's this confidence of this team going to kind of run through the group and steamroll everyone. I think there's a bit of trepidation even among Brazilians. So I'm not sure they're, I think they'll probably win the group, but I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. And do you think this is a group that offers enough competition to potentially threaten them?
Well, I wouldn't say so on the surface. Morocco is hot right now, so could challenge them, but historically haven't been really a team of Brazil's caliber. Scotland and Haiti too do both of them have the ability to surprise, but on the surface you wouldn't say that really they're a threat to Brazil. So as you say, I think Brazil will get past the group stage, but the weakness that you talked about, and we could point out a couple of factors of weakness here, will be more of a factor in the final stages of the tournament and how deeply they can go into it. But I agree, usually from Brazil, we're seeing a lot of the players from top squads, and very difficult for Brazilian players, even from, say, secondary European teams, like Tottenham, for example, difficult to get in unless you're with a PSG or a Bayern Munich or something like that, so the level of the squad definitely lower. I have a Brazilian friend who really is kind of shaking his head. I think perhaps being a bit too negative, but definitely would agree with you that it's one of the weakest generations.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think that was some of the talk going into the 2002 World Cup. So it wouldn't be the only World Cup where, Brazil kind of make their mark in the cup, having come in not looking so good.
Yeah. I think for Morocco, I mean, they're coming off a great World Cup. We can say whether they won the African Cup or not, but they got to the final.
Yeah, they reached the final
home, and they really have ambitions to go a step further, or to kind of reassert themselves as a dominant team, not just in Africa, but a top team in the world that does go far in major tournaments. So do you think that their 2022 success was a flash in the pan, or do you think it's evident that they can be challenging top teams?
I mean, in terms of their longer history, this strong period may, I wouldn't flash in the pan is a bit much, but it may prove kind of a great period in their history that you wouldn't expect to go on forever. However, it's very strong right now. We look at their qualifying record. Again, yes, they reached the final of the cup, even if they did host it. And they have a great team if we consider the players on that team, and perhaps the difference really is the confidence that they're coming into the cup with, far more confident than Brazil, who's long term, like, we haven't won since 2002. We didn't win when we hosted in 2014. We really haven't passed the quarterfinals over the past 5 cups. So I think Morocco's greater confidence might make a difference.
Yeah, well, they play each other in the first match, so it'll start the group with a bang, and maybe that's where the confidence can matter. We've seen even teams that win tournaments sometimes have a slow start, so it'll be a very interesting game, that first one.
Yeah, that'll be a great game, and really it'll kind of set the tone for the group. I'm maybe for both of those teams. We'll talk a little bit later about how far we expect them to progress in the cup. But I definitely see Morocco as potentially winning this group.
Yeah, I think it's possible. Yeah, and then in terms of Scotland, Scotland are kind of a difficult team. They're capable of rising to great things. They're capable of slumping to lethargic and disappointing defeats as well. I think for them
And also bad luck.
and bad luck, and I would say even though the odds and the team value is not miles behind Morocco, there's a bit of bad luck here to face two teams that are, fifth and 11th in the world, Scotland being 36th. I think for them probably only a win is all they need to get out of the group stage. 3 points should do it, and for them, that game against Haiti, which is their first, is imperative. If they get 3 points there, then they kind of, in some ways, whatever else they get might be a bonus. But do you see Scotland as challenging the top two, or
potentially? I think Scotland very stingy in defence. We did see Morocco in the 2025 African Cup struggling a little bit in the final stages to score against stubborn teams. And Brazil may have the same problem if Scotland sets up a big block, which they're likely to do. Scotland could come out of it with a point in either one of those games. And as you say, if they're able to basically score against Haiti, they have a good chance of coming out of the group. However, I wouldn't really see them as challengers to Brazil or Morocco. In fact, I think that the difference we see between Morocco only slightly ahead in odds and team value. I would put Morocco quite a bit further ahead, maybe halfway between Scotland and Brazil.
Yeah, so maybe more reflective of their World Cup or ELO rankings rather than these other measures.
Yeah. But poor Scotland, they might be on the verge of 4 points and passing, and then a fan runs onto the field and the game gets cancelled or something like that.
You never know. But this is a great opportunity to get out of a group stage. Of course, it would really be getting into a last 32 and not a last 16. But it would be, This is as good an opportunity as they'll have, despite two tough teams. I do think Scotland, it's not out of the stretch for them to take a point off somebody, probably Morocco, and maybe duke it out for second place. But I think they are the third strongest team in the group, and you'd kind of expect things to play out that way.
Well, if they do get out of the group, it'll be the first time they've ever done so, having been involved in 12 tournaments and never getting out of the group stage.
Yeah.
Do you give any chance to Haiti, let's say, of getting a point or pulling a surprise?
I really don't. I mean, Scotland have had inconsistent results, so it could happen, but I think it's unlikely. I mean, Haiti, they've done well in some at the game level. They knocked Canada out of a Gold Cup, so they can beat decent teams, but we've also seen just inconsistency, and I think the level of competition here is just such a greater step up than what they've played. No disrespect to Costa Rica and Honduras, but those are teams that kind of at weak points. I think on the world stage, when you expect teams to bring their best, I think it will be very, very difficult.
Yeah, I got to agree on the whole. I mean, I do hold out some hope for Haiti's explosive offense, which can be very exciting. And we suffered as Canada when we went into halftime winning. Were we up 2-0 in the quarterfinals, and then they came back and scored 3 in the second half. So they can pull surprises like that. But yes, I wouldn't kind of predict it. I'd love to see it though. I would love to see at least maybe for a half of a half to see Haiti at their best, and they can really be impressive. But so are you calling no points here for Haiti?
I think I am. I mean, you see the gap between themselves even in Scotland, and I mean, Scotland will know they need to win that game. But if they start with Scotland in their first game and lose that one, I think it's a little grim, for
Yeah.
Morocco and Brazil. For
Yeah, and
those,
the thing is, Scotland may have trouble scoring, but definitely their best chance of goals will be against the Haiti defense.
yes. And I do want to say though, for anyone totally writing them off, North Korea came into the World Cup in 2010 and met Brazil and lost that game just by a score of 2-1.
Yeah,
They were beaten heavily by Portugal, I think 7-0 after that. But no one would have given North Korea a chance against Brazil, and yet they had Brazil sweating and trying to see the game out. So it didn't quite happen as an upset, but we talked about strange
yeah,
things happening, and in football it can, and it might not be Brazil, but it could be some other team. Teams that get to the World Cup can sometimes surprise or pull off, if not an upset, make someone sweat, make someone
yeah.
uncomfortable. So I'd love to see Haiti do that.
For the most part, like North Korea, they did have one very good offensive player, but for the most part, just put up a defensive block, which Scotland could do.
Yeah.
But then, in terms of an explosive offense, Brazil lost to Cameroon. It was the third game and didn't end up meaning that much, but it does show that Brazil is assailable, as what I think your point was.
Yeah. Yeah. And any team can surprise.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about how far you see these teams going. Brazil, of course, famous for reaching the semi-finals, I think 9 World Cups, if I'm correct. Do you see that happening here?
You know what? I don't. The quarterfinal has been a wall for them, and I think it might prove so again. It was a disappointing loss to Croatia, a well-performing Croatia in the last World Cup. But I don't see Brazil necessarily putting a sustained performance, and they weren't that consistent in qualifying. It's maybe not their best generation. To win this World Cup, you're going to have to win a lot of games in a row, and I just don't see Brazil, maybe having that sustained type of performance or the ability to really beat a top team. So they could. They're probably overdue for it. They did win the World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, the last time it was in the United States. So they do have it, but I do think quarterfinals for them.
And it was quarterfinals in the last Copa America. They haven't really looked that good in that tournament there either. So again, we're always ready for our predictions to be defied. Brazil could, build strength in the cup and emerge as one of the best teams Brazil ever put out. But going in, it doesn't look that good for them. I agree that quarterfinals is probably the right decision. How about Morocco? Do you think it's unrealistic for them to expect to reach the semi-finals again?
I think it's a little unrealistic. Again, there's just so many games they have to go through. If we finish second in the group stage, or if they do finish second, they'll probably have a slightly more difficult path than if they finish first. That said, they had a difficult path in 2022 despite topping their group. So I think they did well, but that sort of success is really, really hard to replicate. I think they've established themselves as a good team, and a good team at the world level, and a team capable of competing, and they'll probably go into a couple knockout stage games as a higher ranked team. But to call that kind of Cinderella story and predict it again, I think is a bit unlikely. So I think round of 16 is very achievable. I think quarterfinals would have to be considered pretty good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. As far as Scotland and Haiti goes, I think we're probably both agreeing that they would be happy to get out of the group stage.
I do. I mean, Scotland could finish in a position other than third, but I think third is pretty likely. I don't see them really finishing fourth or second, to be honest. And that'll just put them in a very difficult knockout game in the next round. So I think they'll get out of the group as a third place team. They could maybe surprise, but I think beyond the first knockout round would be quite a shock.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, chances are that if they do get out of the group, they'll be facing a pretty top team. So that would be the end of their tournament. Definitely, round of 16 would be a wonderful achievement for them. I'm thinking Haiti myself, just getting any points. We saw in the '74 World Cup they at least did score against Italy and Argentina, and maybe that's a hopeful goal for them here. What do you say?
Yeah, I see a point as difficult. It would be a great achievement if they got it. But a goal would be good. And they do have a player you like, Duckins Nazon, who's a dangerous forward, scores a lot of goals for them. So a goal would be, I think, would be worth a significant celebration, and I hope they get it.
Yeah, I do too. They have a few forwards, Nazon and Piero, who, and they actually do have one playing for a pretty good team. Anyway, I'm going to save that for the player podcast, but definitely have the offensive potential to get a couple of goals, which I hope they do. We'll just finish looking at the order of games here. Do you see anything in that?
Well, I kind of gave it away, but I think the first games are going to be critical to the group order. Brazil play Morocco, and then Haiti play Scotland. I mean, for Scotland, that's a must win. For Brazil and Morocco, one of those teams could give themselves a real edge to finish in first place of the group. So it's interesting. Sometimes we see the most significant games being the final ones, but I think in this case, it's the opposite. It's the first ones. Though I think I would also keep an eye on Morocco versus Scotland, because if Morocco were to slip up or Scotland were to kind of overachieve, that would be the game where it probably happens.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't think this is necessarily the case for other groups, but it really seems like those first two games are defining, and then, as you say, the next most defining game is the third game. So, but we'll see if those third round games will have any significance, or whether things will be decided by them, which is what I think it will be the case.
Yeah.
All right. Anything to add, or should we pack it in and hope for the best for Group C?
Yes, I think this will be a good group to watch. I'm excited for this one. I know Scotland and Haiti fans will be excited after long absences, so it'll be a good one. And yeah, I'll see you in Group D.
All right, see you then. We would like to thank Michael Foster and Pixabay for the wonderful music in this MediaCast. The title of the piece used is Look to the Sky, Tribal Dance Beats Native American.